I witnessed a lot of racist comments from students at the University of Puerto Rico and the Universidad Metropolitana de Bayamón, where I witnessed a lot of racist things. And I noticed like, oh, there's no black people hosts in television. There's no black professors. There's no black people in power. There's no black managers. Then my brain clicked. I was like, even before I read that Afro-Latino reader, even before I even read anything about race and Black American history, I already knew something was up here. And so then I started looking myself in the mirror. I was like, wait, where do I fall in? I'm working class. I'm clearly working class. I'm clearly, you know, from the hood. I'm clearly, you know, come from a tough background.
Then that
so
must
what
come.
am I?
Does that come from you? You know, like you said, you're in your 20s, so you're beginning to chart your career, your life, right? And you're looking for role models, right? I want to be like that person.
That's right.
And then you don't see them. You're like, oh wait, where are they?
No,
oh
bro.
fuck.
No.
Oh, I'm part of this. I'm part of this invisible people. What makes me invisible? What makes me invisible?
That's right. That's right. Here's the thing. And then when I went to University of Puerto Rico, people say University of Puerto Rico looked like Germany, bro. I mean, I'm lying. It looked like Argentina at least.
Damn.
Yeah. Let me tell you, University of Puerto Rico has barely any black professors, barely any black students. Let's keep it real. Whoever says that's not true, you're lying. I saw so much racist comments. I mean, you didn't even know. So I started kind of like
what? What's the worst? What's the worst?
Oh my God! I was taking a philosophy course. It was this white Puerto Rican. I'm talking about hincha. This is a white woman. That young woman looked like a German. She looked like a white. that was a white woman. I don't know if them Germans hid in some campo, some cave, and never mixed with nobody. But
I was at a protest in Vegas here, and there was this white, redheaded woman, freckles and everything, and she's yelling at the cop like, "You fucking conquerors! We're indigenous." She has a Spanish accent, right? She's Latina, but she's like, "You guys are conquerors. We're indigenous. We're indigenous." I'm like, indigenous? Pippi Longstocking over here, fucking indigenous. Shit. The fuck you talking about, Pepper Ann, man? Goddamn.
Yo, chill. No, so this is like a white woman. This dude, he's kind of like, he's not as white. He's like, you know, like white.
Dulce de leche, right?
Dulce de leche, yeah. So anyway, we're all taking a course, and they hate me because I went through with a do-rag, and then I stopped wearing a do-rag, then I went with my fitted. I'm tatted up, and they hated me. They think that I should be, you know, cleaning the garbage. You know, they hated my behind.
And you feel that. If you're not black, like, you don't understand that you feel that. Like when people are like, oh, there's no racism. Come on, I feel it, bro. It's like a barometric pressure drop or something in a room.
Dog, I live in Dallas right now, and I go to Planet Fitness, and I'm just in a room full of mestizos, and I feel like I have to apologize for the color of my skin. I'm like, should I be apologizing for having melanin? I'm sorry, but it is weird, bro. And they're not bad, you know, they're not doing it on purpose. It's just like, you can feel that.
Race makes us all fucking uncomfortable, especially in this country, but everywhere, right? It makes us all uncomfortable.
Especially when you're not a modern subject. And obviously white is the modern subject. Anything that's not a modern subject, like white.
You're the object, yeah.
Everything is still trying to figure out how you fit in within the modernity, right? As a non-white subject. So it affects all of us, right? But anyway, going back to that story, the dude left his wallet on the table. So the redhead chick, she opens the wallet and she looks at a picture of a black woman. She's like, dude, who's this? And he's like, that's my mom. You know, and she's like, dude, why is your mom so black?
Why is your mom so black?
And I swear to God, bro, I don't even believe in God, but I swear to God.
Atheist here. We're fucked, man. We're Afro-Latino. We're atheists, man. We don't want to be accepted by nobody, man.
Afro-Latinos are kind of somewhat being recognized in the United States, but, you know, that's tricky with thinking about capitalism, neoliberalism, how we're going to be commodified. I mean, that's kind of scary to think about how we're going to be looked at in the future, but something we need to talk about, you know. But I'm super excited to be, amongst a bunch of Afro-Latino, especially Black women, Afro-Latinas, like holding it down. Like, it's super exciting right now. We know very little of Black history in Puerto Rico. For us, Black history starts in 1898 after slavery is abolished, right? It's very convenient. Very convenient, by the way. J-Lo has never faced racial discrimination in Puerto Rico. J-Lo has never faced racial discrimination in the Bronx, at least by other Puerto Ricans.
Would we know J-Lo's name if she was a negrita, right?
Here's the thing. Black people, they face racial discrimination in Puerto Rico. Black Puerto Ricans, who she says she is, a black woman in Puerto Rico is going to face a lot of issues for her gender, for her race, in Puerto Rico and in the Bronx by Puerto Ricans themselves. You know, when people say Latinos, oh, but, you know, I'm not white here in the United States because I face racial discrimination. I'm sorry, but the United States is not one spot. Yes, it's institutional, but institutional racism doesn't work uniformly everywhere.
Yeah, it's not like
You know what I'm
McDonald's. You
saying?
don't get
Like,
the same service all around the fucking world. You know?
yeah, like if you look like Ricky Martin, are you gonna face racial discrimination in the Bronx by Puerto Ricans or Dominicans? No.
Would he be as beloved if he was black Puerto Rican, right?
Oh, he wouldn't even be a thing. He wouldn't even be mentioned. We wouldn't know about him.
Afro-Latinas are getting their due. Great, it's awesome. But I noticed that Afro-Latinos men are still invisible. Just like Latinas in general are getting their due, and Latino men are suffering in the United States. If you look at educational attainment, pay, everything, right? Latino men are suffering. Man. Latinas, great. Hey, I'm married to a Latina. Great, I support her. I'm behind her, right? But Latino men are suffering, and Afro-Latino men are at the bottom of the barrel.
Afro-Latinos, like, we're in a tough spot. Because if we mention that kind of thing, like if let's say we want to create workshops, you know, I'm an educator, so if I want to create a lesson plan around masculinity, or misogyny or politics or sexism or homophobia, like I want to create a workshop with men, right? Cis hetero men. You know, we have the idea like, oh, am I going to get critiqued by other black women? Now, what you're saying is important because we see that black men are being disproportionately funneled into the school to prison pipeline. Black men speaking Spanish, you want to find them? They work in factories, right? They're in prison in the prison industrial complex, right? So black men are going through a lot, and what happens is that our own patriarchy sometimes doesn't allow us to move forward as black people. Like, I don't think we should blame that stuff on black women. But black women are operating in a tough situation because they're being allowed, and black queer, like I'm at the university level, I don't see that many black cis hetero men, Afro-Latino hetero men. I see a lot of queer black Afro-Latinos. I see a lot of Afro-Latinas, like you said, sure. But there are institutional reasons why they're being allowed. It's because of white feminism, right? It's still some white patriarchy there. But that puts white Afro-Latinas and a lot of queer Afro-Latinx folk in the top spot of having to like perform and stay quiet and be acceptable to whiteness too. So I think it's tough for everyone. But I will say,
for sure. I'm not saying it's easy for anybody. I'm not saying it's easy for anybody, but I'm just saying, like you're talking about, white feminism, which is racism.
Yeah, I'm not saying you said that. Yeah,
LGBT movement, all these things are kind of pushing, like you're saying, cis Afro-Latino men to the bottom because there's no movement for us.
Well, that's another thing that we need to start talking about is like, how do we be better? Because there's not many of us, like you said, who are professionals and are educators who are doing things.
We're only in sports or we're in music or not even in music. Like, why is the best you studied reggaeton. Why is the best reggaetonero a white guy?
Man. But you know what I'm going to say about that. You know, it's corporate.
Man, I've talked about it.
Two words. Corporate transnationalism.